Hello and welcome to today's Wholehearted Living podcast episode with your host Deb Thorpe. And today we are going to be connecting you with your inner nurturer. So let's dive in. So you hopefully have listened to the episode all about the inner critic and how we go about really putting that in its place. Okay, so within that episode, I gave you some tools and techniques for how we really navigate what it is to be in charge of that inner critic and ensure that it doesn't just take over and it has free reign to just do whatever it wants. Okay, it's one part of many parts of ourselves, so we don't want it to have free reign and free control all of the time. And for those of you that have not yet listened to the first bonus episode, I share what was one of the most traumatic near-to-death experiences that I've had in my life, and what it was to really put that critic and actually bring in the nurturer in that experience. So today we're going to dive into what it is to allow that inner nurturer to have, we really want that to have the strongest voice within us. And in reality, if we grow up in an environment where we are told how much we're loved, how amazing we are, how lovable we are, how amazing we are just for our existence, like what a miracle it is that we are who we are, we would have a very strong blueprint for this nurturing voice. So, it's not to say that the critic won't rear its head at certain points and we won't go through different emotions and times of self-doubt, but we will have a blueprint for that nurturing voice to come alongside us and go, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. You're still so lovable. You're still so cherished. This doesn't make you any less worthy. You are amazing. You are so loved. So you would have that voice that comes alongside that. The only way I can describe it is that it's like it soothes your system. Okay, it's like hearing those words are like a balm to your whole entire body. It helps us to settle our nervous system, to process any trauma or anything that we've been through that has put our nervous system onto high alert. It helps to soothe and heal our system. So it's really important that we develop and have a strong blueprint for this inner nurturer. So if you haven't had the experience of being told all of these amazing things when you were younger, maybe that doesn't feel natural to you. So one of the big things that crops up with a lot of clients is that it doesn't feel normal, natural, comfortable for them to praise themselves, for them to have this compassionate, nurturing voice within themselves. And, we have this thing in the brain that it will go to what's familiar. So therefore, because it doesn't feel familiar to that client to be talking to themselves in this kind, caring, compassionate voice, they will turn to what is more familiar, which tends to be that really strong critic. And so they get caught in that and they stay in that, not because it's helping them, not because it's true, not because it's what's best for them, but because it's what's familiar. And our brain will always take us back to what's familiar. And so we have to be very proactive in making sure that this nurturing, compassionate voice becomes familiar to our system. And, we do that in the beginning by consistency and repetition. So in the beginning, you won't fully believe these things that you're saying to yourself because they are not familiar. You telling yourself how amazing you are, how loved you are, how lovable you are, how you are so worthy, you are more than enough, you are so special, you are such a beautiful person, you are so treasured, you are so loved. Or repeating these things to yourself might feel really alien to you at the beginning if you're not used to hearing them. And I think what happens is that because people might feel uncomfortable when they hear those words and those phrases, or it feels unfamiliar or it feels a bit alien, they then believe that it can't be true because it doesn't feel natural or normal or familiar. And I'm here to tell you today that that's not the case. It doesn't feel true because you're not used to saying it to yourself. You get used to saying it to yourself, you will begin to believe it and it will begin to become true. So we kind of have to, take this leap in the beginning of, okay, well, I'm not going to instantaneously feel comfortable with this. This might feel a bit awkward for me. I might not believe it in the beginning, but you know what? I want to lay the framework for this nurturing, compassionate voice inside of me. And so I am going to stick with it. I'm going to keep laying this foundation. Okay. So that's what we want to be working with here. We need to get past the point that just because something is uncomfortable or is unfamiliar, that means that it's wrong or not right for us. Okay, anything that is new to us is going to feel unfamiliar and is going to feel weird and awkward in the beginning. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's not meant for you or that it's not right for you. I can promise you that of all of the things, if you can develop a strong, nurturing, compassionate, loving voice inside of you, it will serve you through so many situations in your life. If you haven't done so, listen to the bonus episode on that I shared all about this, because that loving, compassionate voice is the one that will allow you to integrate the trauma, the difficult life experiences. It's not about, this is very, very different to just positive psychology. We're not kidding ourselves. We're not like, oh, all the world is perfect and isn't it all amazing and I just have to be happy all the time. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about that kind, compassionate, nurturing voice that comes alongside you and puts an arm around you and gives you a hug in some of your most trying, difficult times. It's not taking that difficulty away from you. It is allowing you to be in it and process it in a way that enables you to, leave the situation more empowered as a result. So that's what we're talking about here. So how do we lay this foundation? We have to flood our system with those words. So YouTube is an amazing resource for this in terms of, guided hypnotherapy sessions, affirmations that really reaffirm to us that we are worthy, we are loved, and I'd really recommend that as you're going to sleep every night, you you flood your system and your subconscious with those messages. So that's that's one thing that I think is really, really powerful. I still do that now. So I've worked on this for many, many years. I've got a very, very strong, nurturing, compassionate part within myself now, but I still ensure that my system is hearing those messages. So I will still, before I go to sleep at night, still have within my earphones those messages. I am enough. I am loved. I am worthy. All of these things. So that's one thing that's really, really helpful in this situation. Another one is practicing what you would say to a friend or a loved one that is going through a difficult time. So you're not going to be saying to them, "Oh, you're such a failure. Oh, you're such a horrible person. I can't believe that you did that or that happened." For someone that you really love and care about, you are going to come alongside them and go, "I am so sorry that this has happened to you. I can feel your pain. I can't imagine what is going through your system right now, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. I don't love you any less. I still cherish you. I am here for you, and you are still so worthy and so capable and so amazing, and I am so honoured that you are in my life." Okay. Though those words are powerful, and when we envisage them for someone else, we then get to say them to ourselves. And what I want you to get into the habit of is saying them out loud to yourself, because there's something, one, that is a command to our system, so it follows the command, but also there's something very powerful about hearing those words back in your system that really, really helps to integrate it. So we want to get into the practice of saying these things out loud. First thing in the morning when you're getting ready, when you're having a wash, brushing your teeth, doing your hair, when you're looking in the mirror, say those things. You are so loved. You are so worthy. You are so capable. You are amazing. I want you to know how lovable you are, how you are so valued in this world. You have so much to offer. I'm so proud of you. Say those things out loud to yourself as you're looking at yourself in the mirror. This is really powerful work. And, like I said in the beginning, you will have no doubt the critic that wants to rear its head going, "Oh, as if." Well, you can tell yourself that as much as you want, but it's not true. Again, use the techniques from that critic podcast to put that back in its place, to put that to the back of the stage, to tell that to go backstage. You are focused on developing, harnessing, nurturing that kind, compassionate, loving voice. So, I think one of the parts of being a therapist is sitting with a client who wasn't told these things as a child and grapple with that as an adult, that somehow that means that they're not these things, they're not worthy, they're not enough, they're not loved. And really being able to be with someone as they develop this, knowing that just because they didn't hear it, it wasn't anything to do with them. They had parents that didn't say that didn't show that to them. That wasn't their fault. Doesn't mean it's not true. So we get to lay the foundation of we make this now part of who you are because it is true. You have inherent worth and value, and you're enough because you're here. You're human. You're in this life. We don't look around at trees in nature and go, well, that one's more worthy than that one, and oh, that one's like grown funny. That must mean that's not, that tree's not enough. Like, we don't do that. That's not how life works. That's not how nature works, right? We celebrate the difference, the what all of the different trees bring to an environment, how they all work together, all of the different aspects that they share, that they have in that they're different. Like, I want you to start seeing yourself as part of that ecosystem. You are enough because you're here, because you are enough, because you were born that way. So that's, I understand that this can be quite a challenging concept. I have sat with many clients over the years that when they first hear this will totally and utterly reject it because it it feels so not true for them. And gradually, with that repetition, that consistency, and really flooding your system with what it is to be in love, in compassion, in kindness, eventually your system recognizes it, because this is where this is what you're born with. This, like, this is who you are. It's just, it's not always been fed and nurtured as part of you. So your your body will begin to recognize this as soothing balm for your soul. And that's when once you begin to let this in, once this begins to feel more familiar to you, um like, there's no stopping it. It will be there, and you will want to keep feeding this, because you will notice, and other people will notice, how you glow differently, how you seem to be more at peace, how um, you seem to just seem more centered as you go through the world, right? So, and from a physical point of view as well, your whole system gets soothed, so it's not so inflamed. If you've got like stomach issues that flare up when you're stressed, and backaches and all of this kind of stuff, that a lot of this will subside because your body is being soothed by the very words that you're telling it. Um, I'm sure we've all had the experience, or we've certainly witnessed it, where a child, I don't know, maybe they've fallen over or something's happened and they're hysterically crying and their body's shaking, and you can see how upset and how, like, it's a trauma for them in that moment. And they receive those loving words of, like, it's okay, I'm here. They get a hug, and you can see how it's almost like the tension and the stress melts, and the crying subsides, and the shaking stops, and they experience that calmness. It all integrates, and then they'll go off and they'll play and move on. That's how powerful this work is. So that's my invitation to you today, is to begin to flood yourself with that kind, compassionate voice. We want that kind, compassionate part to take center stage. We want to be feeding that. So use the guided audios at night before you go to sleep. So that's the last thing that your subconscious is hearing as you fall into sleep. And then as you wake up in the morning, as you're getting ready, speak those things out loud to yourself. And as you're going throughout your day, just become aware of the things that you're saying to yourself, of like, oh, stupid me, there I go again, like I'm so clumsy, I'm such an idiot. That's not a kind, loving thing to say. We don't say that to kids that are attempting to walk for the first time and they fall over 100 times. We're not like, oh, you're so stupid, like you should know how to walk. That's, why can't you just do it? Like, that's not what we do, right? We go, oh, okay, why, well done for trying. Oh, isn't that amazing? You're so clever. This is like, you've got this. You're going to get there. Like, you keep going, keep trying. So we want to take that same energy and use it to ourselves. So, you make a mistake or something happens, you're like, oh, okay, well, like, it's okay. I've learnt the lesson. Like, it's okay. I can go again. I'm still worthy. I'm still loved. I'm still enough. Okay, so we're taking that same energy and using it to ourselves. Watch how your world changes once you really implement this on a consistent basis. So many things start to shift, and I'd love to hear from you how this works for you in your life, what your experience of that, the nurturer, has been throughout your life, and whether it is something that feels very alien and very unfamiliar to you. And if you would like a specialist guided audio for this, I'm very happy to record one. Please do drop me an email. I'll leave all of the information in the description, and I'll happily send that to you. So do let me know, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Bye for now.